Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Korean Connection. Tired of everyone telling you to find your passion, but no one telling you how? Welcome to the Korean Connection, and I'm your host, Korean, an attorney with a passion for empowering others to use their many talents and skills towards a path of self-discovery and alignment. Join me as I share my personal stories, professional insights, and practical tips, and how you can connect the dots between what you're great at and turning your passions into purpose. Let's connect. Push it to the left, I can't go no more. Looking like no, I'm coming back home. I'm driving all my you. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Korean Connection. Today's episode, we have a very special guest. We are welcoming Yvonne Johnson, the founder of SOULFUL SPROUTS LLC, a holistic wellness brand dedicated to vegan living and nourishing your body from the inside out. Yvonne believes that true wellness starts with what we put into our bodies and how we care for our minds and spirit. Through SOULFUL Sprouts, Yvonne offers personalized wellness consultations, meditation, yoga, along with organic juices, immunity boosters, and a complete approach to healthy living rooted in plant-based nutrition and holistic healing. Her mission is simple but powerful. One sprout at a time, helping you take intentional steps towards a vibrant, balanced life. And today we're talking about how passion for wellness becomes purpose and how to nourish yourself holistically and what it really means to build a healthy lifestyle that sticks. Welcome to the Korean Connection, Yvonne.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
First of all, I'm calling you Yvonne, but she's really my fiance, okay? This is my other half, my counterpart. This is the person who keeps me looking and feeling great, especially through SOULFUL Sprouts. So it's very fitting to have her on the platform. And trust me, it took a lot of prodding to get her here. Right?
Indeed.
Yeah, she's not one for the cameras, a light camera in action. She's very behind the scenes and very shy. But of course, I had to bring her on to highlight her brand. But also, this is really just who you are as an individual. And I think it's important for you to kind of tell people about what is SOULFUL. Well, first of all, let's just tell people about how did you even come to a place of veganism?
Well, I've always been attracted to being healthy, trying to make the best decisions for myself when it comes to my health. I always believe, you never wait for it to be broken before you fix it. So I operate from a proactive standpoint. And my journey started in fitness, working in fitness clubs, fitness center. So all the diets, you name them, the health craze has come across my decks before. So I've been on the Atkins diet where I only eat protein, and even in that settings, it's always like my skinless, boneless chicken, making a grilled chicken salad opposed to like eating something fried, So I've always been attracted to being healthy, active, and always trying to make the best decision when it comes to food. So I always like to say, becoming vegan, it came to me. It was an evolution for me. So just eating clean, and then I slowly became a pescatarian. And I too didn't want to hear the noise of, oh, this plant-based thing, it's saving life. It's getting people blood pressure down. It's lowering cholesterol. Because I'm like, I like oysters so much, so I tuned that out for a while, but it just kept on coming back to me. So it's an evolution, and it was very easy given the lifestyle I was already living. And the transition just happened slowly. And my only regret is that I didn't let it in sooner.
Yeah. And the thing is, when I met you, I don't know. It's probably very hard to tell how old you are because you look so good and so young.
Thank you.
A lot of people thought I was robbing the cradle when we first started, and I was getting really annoyed at that idea. But you work on a college campus, and I know a lot of times you're mistaken for a student.
Indeed, yes.
And so, do you attribute that to a part of your lifestyle for veganism?
I would like to think so. And pairing that with just always being active. In my early 20s, I started doing like bike-a-thons, like riding. I've seen most of America through a bicycle, I done bike rides where I've done from 50 to 100 miles in one sitting, 160 mile in one sitting. And one of my favorite rides I like is to ride from Manhattan to Montauk, So I'd like to think just marrying the two, my healthy lifestyle, which then evolved into veganism. And I've always been active. I was the person like no days off in the gym, even when I ate meat. So
yeah.
I think it definitely helps.
So I know you said that the transition for you was a gradual one. It's not something that kind of came all at once. So it doesn't seem so forced. What are some of the misconceptions you find in people who are, about vegans in general?
I think the struggle there is people think they're gonna miss out on the flavor, the variety of eating different foods and options. And the truth is you can get the same from eating plants. I've never had more, variety in my foods than being vegan, you know? There's so many options, and you're not gonna miss out on that. And I think people struggle. A lot of people, believe it or not, they'll welcome it, but they don't know where to start. And that's one of the things that pushed me to like start Soulful Sprout, because I would do this naturally. Hey, this is what I'm having for lunch, and people would be like, hey, send me that recipe. Oh, I wish I could do this. And I'm like, hey, I do have something to offer. So I think a lot of people are just lost and don't really realize it, because if they had a person like me at home cooking for them, they'll be more open to the idea of becoming a vegan.
And you know what's interesting, just going back to what you talked about in terms of diversity in the foods that you eat, we would like to think that we eat a lot of different things, but actually we don't. You generally tend to eat the same thing over and over again. Like, you and I are Jamaican, right? And so, growing up in a Jamaican household, you think you're eating a variety, but you're really just eating the same staple stuff. You can eat your ackee and saltfish, and then your fried dumpling and your boiled dumpling, or you're eating your stewed chicken and your rice and peas, or you're eating your curry goat and your rice and peas, or you're eating your oxtail and your rice and peas. But oh my God, like, you're eating like the same thing over and over again. And those are very hard starches.
Indeed.
And a lot of heavy protein and a lot of meats that are really hard to digest. So when you even think about it, when I talk to another Jamaican person, like, oh, but I can't give up the oxtail. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's because you haven't really discovered mushroom. Like, you can literally make mushroom taste like everything. And that's one of the things I've discovered, even just being with you. And, we coined the term sort of, I'm like veganish, but I'm trying to be more vegan now. But, a lot of people don't have that variety in their food. And like you said, also, it's also a lack of education in knowing like what the different types of foods are that you can eat and the various nutrients that a lot of these foods bring. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. A lot of people who, when they think about turning over to veganism, they're thinking about the lack of proteins, right? You're not eating meat, so where are you getting your proteins from? How are you getting Julian now wants to get on, what's that thing that he wants to ingest?
Creatine.
Creatine, like he's not going to get his creatine in order to grow. What are some of the food substitutions that you find is easy for, like, meat substitute for protein? What do vegans eat?
Well, I eat a lot of beans, a lot of legumes, mushroom, like you said. I'm really have a balanced diet, and I eat stuff like chickpeas. Not so much like black beans and stuff like that, because I try to stay on the side of eating as alkaline as I possibly can.
What's alkaline?
It's basically just, eliminating foods that could add more acid to the body because the goal is to keep a healthy pH balance. And acid throws that off. And, we all have stuff in us, diseases, believe it or not, but it's either we're feeding that stuff, we're giving it life, or we're going to eat where we keep that dormant because
Dormant, yeah.
it's all within us.
Yeah.
So again, operating from a space of like my proactive nature.
Yeah.
I'm not fully alkaline, but I try my best to like eat as alkaline as possible. So my go-to for protein is usually like my hemp seeds, my chickpeas, my chia seeds. As much as I'm a vegan, there's a list of beans that I don't eat because again, they're not alkaline food. So I try to do like hemp, chickpeas, chia seeds, along those lines.
Yeah. And I know that, one of the things I kind of want to highlight too, because, even living together, you're pretty disciplined and you have a pretty, I don't want to say strict diet because it doesn't necessarily feel like restriction to you because
it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I find myself, because I have the kids in the house, I still have to cook two different sort of meals, right? The kids are sort of accustomed to what they're accustomed to. And obviously now I'm recognizing that in my older age, right? That it's actually more beneficial for me to sort of align myself with more fruits and vegetable and a more healthy, that's kind of more aligning with a vegan lifestyle. So I'm sort of switching over to that. But, it's been an interesting ride because even having to cook both meals, I'm realizing that a lot of us, especially Caribbean folks, I mean, I guess everyone, we're so focused on taste, right? And not that, you have to sort of eat blind. Not that, there's this misconception that when you go vegan, you have to get used to the idea of the taste. And you do to an extent, but it's not a bad taste. And, one of the things I found very interesting is that when I cook vegan food, I cook, I cook curry chicken, I cook stewed chicken, I cook, whatever it is, you can find the vegan option to that. And I have you licking your fingers. So I'm definitely.
Indeed. Yes. Definitely. I've incorporate more curry in my diet because you make the best curry. And, I love that.
Yeah. And then, you kind of, you realize that, the taste that you're accustomed to, while it may be a little varied when you switch over to plant-based, you can still get the same taste that you're seeking by just switching over to plant-based, like using, like you said, mushroom. Mushroom takes on the taste of anything that you season it to be.
And in my opinion, when you mention taste, sometimes even better, more flavors, because you tend to use more natural herbs, You're using stuff like your natural chive, your sage, opposed to like powder season. And you even see it with the kids when we make them their meat of choice. We put the same natural seasoning on it, and they're like instantly oh, this tastes so good.
Yeah.
So in most cases, I think you achieve more in flavor.
Yeah.
When it comes to being a vegan, because you have to be so intentional to get that out of like a tofu. Some folks eat tofu or a mushroom.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm a foodie. I'm a food girl. I love eating out. I love going to restaurants. And I know on our first date, you took me to Ja Ja Ja, which
Indeed.
is a Mexican vegan restaurant in the city.
Yes,
in
the village.
For every anniversary, for every birthday, it's always been a vegan restaurant. And when I tell you, I am not missing out on anything. I am not missing out on anything, the food is tasty. It's high end. A lot of times you can't even tell that you're eating
Indeed.
something that's vegan. And one of the things that's even great is that you sort of leave, you can eat as much as you want till your heart's content and you don't leave with that guilt. You don't leave with that greasy feeling, that heavy feeling, or the feeling that days after where your body is still trying to process the food that you. And so that's one of the benefits I feel, that I got from just sort of living vegan-ish by virtue of being with you. So, and one of the things also too that I've come to realize just by virtue of being with you and eating less meats and eating healthier, when you reintroduce those foods back into your body, it's almost like literally like your body rejects it. It almost feels like you're introducing poison into your body, and you really see the effects from when you don't eat that stuff or when you start eating that stuff. So, I'm definitely living testament to what it's like to come from a place of eating just whatever you would consider to be like regular food and then switching over to a vegan lifestyle. And I know y'all seen the results. I'm like walking advertisement for veganism for sure. Yeah. So, you mentioned that a lot of people don't know how to even initiate, a healthy living or a lifestyle. Is that why you started Soulful Sprouts?
Yes, indeed. Like I said, I've been getting the calls, from friends, family, many years ago before this whole internet, YouTube, TikTok thing. It's always like, hey, I'll pay you to like prep my meals, and I'm like, no, I do this for fun, And as I see, where we are right now in the world, a lot of people want this stuff. They just don't know how to start. And I know I have something to offer, and I just wanted to just tie the things in life that fills me up, that feels natural, and gift it back to the world. And my gift back to the world is Soulful Sprout.
Yeah. Let me tell you, and it's amazing how nature just gives you what you need naturally. And people underestimate that. We go into the supermarkets and we buy apple juice and we buy grape juice and you buy all these things, and it's really just concentrated processed sugar. And you don't realize, sometimes some of the juices you're buying is saying 5% juice, and you're asking like, well, what the hell is 95% of it? Like, what are you drinking? And here you are, you will buy apples, oranges, grapefruits, whatever it is, pears, from the supermarket, and you'll juice them. And you don't even have to add anything in terms of like sugar. It is naturally sweet. It is delicious. It can't even stay in the refrigerator for too long because the kids just gulps it up, it's always amazing to me when people don't really get to see that. So I know that, natural juices is some of the things that you offer on your website. Can you just tell us about some of those offerings and some of the nutritional benefits that they carry?
Well, with the juices, like everything that I offer on my website, really comes down to like, I think no more than 4 ingredients. And it's usually the fruits. If it's a combination of 3 fruits, it's that 3 fruit, mineral water, and agave.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's one of the things I try to pride myself on, because I want to give people the truth. And you can do this, because there is also a thing called, healthy vegan and unhealthy vegan. And it's just to be mindful of the heavily processed stuff. So when I make my products, I really try to capture that taste, something that's easy on the palate, and keep it as raw and authentic as I possibly can.
One of the things that you also, along with the juices that you have, that you offer on the website, you offer consultations as well. Could you talk to us a little bit about what the consultation entails, and what kind of offerings can we expect from your consultations?
Well, for the consultation, it's really to get a chance to get to know the client, because we're all at different stages in our health, like for myself, I have a clean bill of health, so the urgency for another client who might want to lower cholesterol, it's gonna look different for the person who just like, hey, I just want to be healthier just in case. So that's what that really offers. It gives us an opportunity to sit and really make this bespoke experience for each client and really give them the help that they need. And I'm super excited because now we'll be offering like guided breath work comes this summer, and we plan to do this outdoors in green spaces, helping people to get back in touch with their inner self, how to handle the daily stressors and stuff like that along those lines. So just to really get to know the client individually and their specific needs.
Yeah. And that's along the lines of meal prep or along the lines of like, because a lot of times even doing something as simple as doing grocery shopping, and that's something that we do on a weekly basis. A lot of times we don't even know what the ingredients are in the products that we're buying and the things that we're consuming. And now we're getting to a stage where we don't even know what's real from what's from what's biologically engineered, right? In the labs. So is that something that you also offer? Like if I just wanted to know like what are the right things to buy? Is that a service that you also provide?
Yes, indeed. Especially where we live, here in the United States. Right now, I'll say it feels safer to run from anything that the FDA approves. So that to just give folks that guidance, to just try to eat as locally grown as possible. Go to your farmer's market. Opposed to like the supermarket, even Whole Foods and places like those right now, Trader Joe's, they're not as trustable as they used to be.
Yeah.
So it's just really building that community where you can feel confident with someone like myself who's doing the work, because I live the lifestyle and I'm very, very passionate about my health. I feel like that's one of the biggest flex to be as old as I am today, to sit here with a clean bill of health.
Yeah.
I mean, folks that I went to school with, they all have, medication that they're all already in. And I can sit here and say, I take zero medication, you know? So it's just to really build that community of trust. And I like to call that circle, my sprouters,
Yeah.
where we all can come together and just really know that we're truly looking out for each other. And like I said, I'm here doing the groundwork because I live this every day.
Now, so we have kids and, it's one thing for us adults trying to change your diet, but trying to switch, certain dietary things for the children, sometimes we're not the easiest. But we've kind of come to a place now where they're starting to appreciate, the health benefits and not only that, but just the how good things taste, that they wouldn't normally think about. Could you talk about a little bit about that experience of just sort of like entering into a household where it wasn't necessarily so health conscious, and like the progression to where we are now and how we've tried to like incorporate some of the healthy lifestyle into our kids' diet?
Yes, indeed. Coming into the household with the kids and everything, I was very excited to like get up and prep their meal before school, And when they were a little younger, they were a bit open to it. But of course, they go out in school, they're building their own little friends community. They have TikTok and all of that stuff. So the stigma behind being vegan kind of seeped into them a little, but they love the food. And sometimes we just have to sneak it in on them.
Yeah.
If you remember, like normally we make a winter trip into the city with the kids where we take them to see a Broadway show and so on, and try to pair that with like a nice dinner experience.
Yeah.
And if you can remember, one year we took them to PS Kitchen.
Yeah.
And unannounced to them that this was a fully 100% vegan restaurant.
Right.
they ate up that food.
They licked them plates almost.
And we were like texting each other like, oh my God, I hope, nothing blows our cover here.
I remember you ordered like the chicken and it wasn't like obviously chicken. And you couldn't even eat any because we were trying to, because they would have been
undercover incognito, And whatever was the choice, Olivia loved her pasta meal. Julian is a burger and wing kind of guy.
Yeah.
And they ordered their food along those lines. And the comment was not even a 10 out of 10. They were like 15 out of 10, 20 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I think I just let the secret out because we were going to tell them after dinner.
We kind of kept that a secret for quite some time.
Right. So they can't watch this episode.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but you just have to meet them where they are and make it fun and consider them and just slide it in sometimes in their meals.
And not only like one of the fun things that we kind of did that now they do on their own is make their own shakes and smoothies.
Indeed.
Just being able to just have fruits in the house that they can use to just make like for a quick snack or even a meal replacement. Sometimes Olivia's at a point now where she's like, oh, just have a shake and that's dinner.
Indeed.
And that's a big win.
Yeah. And there are times, on a Friday night, we try to, they're still kids, so we do like a fast food Friday just to keep them balanced because we don't want to deprive them, and I've got the call sometimes coming home from work on a Friday night like, can we do an acai bowl tonight?
Right.
Instead of
Chinese food or
Burger
something.
King.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
An acai bowl? I'm like, oh, absolutely.
Right.
We've made them their shakes without cow's milk. Sneak it in and they lick their fingers just the same. And, so it's really, you just got to meet your kids where they are. Sneak it in if you have to. 50-50 if you have to.
Yeah.
It's just baby steps,
Yeah. And so what is there any sort of messaging that you have for the people who are considering, even just making a progressive step towards a healthier lifestyle? Like what are some of the tips that you have for them?
I would say, I can only give from where I stand.
Yeah.
What made it easy for me, there was never a point in my life where I set out that I want to be vegan by the next 6 months. Oh, I want to do this one day in my life. It's just, the root of it is trying to make the healthiest choice for yourself. It's your health, You have to take this in your hands. Keep it light. You don't have to be a vegan overnight. You can be 20% plant-based.
Yeah.
And from that, what I find, it slowly seeps into you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, for myself, being a pescatarian for some time, I got to a point where I was like, hey, I'm just only gonna eat meat when I'm around my relatives. I'm out with friends. And I did that where I just did that because the plan was not to cook it at home anymore.
Yeah.
Not to bring that in my home anymore.
Yeah.
And that was great. I didn't have to make an announcement to my family.
Right.
I didn't have to make because that's when people fail.
Right.
You're telling your friends, oh, I'm this, that. And then you hang out and you're like sitting there and your mouth is drooling. Like, just have the burger. So I just eliminated from my home.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel my transition was so smooth.
Right.
And then you find yourself where you hit a place like even in the winter months, you're like, geez, I haven't gone out this month.
Yeah, right.
I can survive without meat.
Right. And then you also get an opportunity to notice the difference in how your body feels
right.
without it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll say just take a light approach and be honest with yourself, but don't lose sight of what you're doing for yourself and your health.
And so, and as we come to the close, it always helps to kind of know your why. Like, when you connect it to a purposeful reason as to why you're doing it, chances are you'll be able to stick to it, a lot longer, or even make it more of a lifestyle as opposed to just like a seasonal or, New Year's Eve resolution type of change. So how can we kind of get in contact with Soulful Sprouts?
Well, I am on Instagram at Soulful Sprouts on Instagram. Same on TikTok. We do have a website, Soulful Sprout, one word, LLC.com. And that's how you can reach out to me on those three platforms.
And then you also, you offer meditation, yoga guide, all those things. Are those also things that you can find on the website as well to book?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're there. We have everything there. You just go to the website, find what's calling you. We have multiple classes that can be one-on-one, in group setting, and just finds what speaks to you. We're here, and that's why our slogan is "Nourish your soul, one sprout at a time." No rush.
Thank you so much. And so, guys, I'm imploring you to nourish your soul one sprout at a time. Please check out Soulful Sprouts and all their various offerings, and connect your why and make sure it identifies with who you are in terms of what you want for a healthy, balanced lifestyle. And with that, we'll thank you for joining us, and join us next time on The Korean Connection. Let's connect. Thank you guys for connecting with me today. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to my channel, The Korean Connection. To connect with me, you can email me at thekoreanconnection@gmail.com. And don't forget that sometimes your passion whispers before it roars. And if you're listening closely, the next episode might be where it gets louder. Let's connect.
Push it to the limit, I can't go no more.